Greetings. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to create a little kind of digital brochure or booklet type thing using Lucidpress, which is a free app that you can connect up through your Google Drive. And one of the things it can do is it can create little digital documents that are formatted just right for using on an iPad or an iPhone or a tablet of some sort. So it's a quick and easy way to get things published up in a digital form onto a tablet of some sort. So I'm going to do the one here for the demonstration on different kinds of bodies of the solar system. I have got, and this is something that really helps out, is I have got here a document with the text for my brochure booklet all written out ahead of time. That's going to make life really easy if I have that done. So I'd recommend starting with that step as having all of the text written out there. And then when I put the text into the document, I'm just going to copy and paste it in. So whether you have that or not, we're going to go ahead. I suggest it, but I guess you can see what works for you. I'm going to first of all create a Lucidpress document. This assumes that you've already used the Lucidpress app at least once, and you've added it in as an app on your Google Drive, and you're familiar with some of the basic terms of it. I'm not going to review everything about it, just kind of work through it in as much as we need to know for the example of making the digital brochure. So I'm going to click on Lucidpress document, and that starts off a new document in Lucidpress. And if you've ever used Microsoft Publisher or InDesign or even Pages in Mac OS, this will look kind of familiar. A lot of the things are similar to those. So first of all, I'm going to do is give this a name. So I'm going to call this Bodies of the Solar System, which is great. You got to give something a name. There it shows up just above the page. I'm going to set the page first of all so that it's the right format, and the one that I want is the digital format. That's 6 by 8.5 inches. You want that in landscape orientation, so it's wider than it is tall. And if you can imagine, that's about the right proportions to fit onto the screen of a tablet or smaller viewing device, kind of like that. I'm not going to put any margins on this because it is going to be well, ultimately it's going to be displayed on the web. I want the full bleed of the images right to the edge of the document, so I don't want any margins. The text I'll move around to fit where it seems to fit based on what the image is. So here I have my first page, and I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a nice picture to go with that. And what I have done is, oops, there you go. I have created I have downloaded a couple of photos that I'm going to put onto the picture, and if you've downloaded some, you can do that. You can also search for photos or pictures from within Lucidpress and get your images that way. And either one will work. It depends on what you want to do. So I've got a couple that I've downloaded ahead of time, and then I'll show a couple that we're going to get by looking online. So the first one I want is going to be of the solar system. So I've got this image. I'm just going to click and drag it right in, and it does an automatic upload of that. I've got a really high speed connection where I am, so it takes very little time for that to upload, but I've got this right here, and I'm going to snap it right into the corner, and I'm going to drag it down here, and it snaps to the bottom. It still leaves a little bit of margin over on the white, so I'm just going to keep dragging that and enlarging it. And even though it goes past the edge of the viewable page, what we're going to see eventually, I'm still going to keep dragging it past there so it fills up the whole screen here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the text, which is going to say Bodies of the Solar System. So I'll click on that, and I get a little text box here. One thing that I want to do is I want to double click and select all that. It's very tough to see the way it is now, so I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to make this larger in different font to make it look a little bit more interesting. and I'm going to change the color to white. Well, that's better. And now I'm going to type in the actual title, which is going to be Bodies of the Solar System. And so I've got my text in a text box, and a couple of things I want to take care of here. I want it kind of be centered in the text box. Right now it's floating up at the top, and it's over on the left-hand side. So I'd like to have it kind of centered in the text box. If I go over to the alignment part here of the text tab, which shows up when you select a text box, I'm going to click on the little disclosure arrow, disclosure triangle to the left of it, and it gives me alignment and vertical alignment. So the alignment, I'm going to say I want text, and watch and see what happens to the text when I click on this. Boom, goes over to the center. And the vertical alignment is where it aligns up and down if it's floating in the middle or sinking to the bottom, and I want it floating or I want it in the middle, so I'll click on that, and it goes to the middle of that text box. So now when I move it around, it stays more or less centered, but you notice it's kind of tough to see with the background. If I move to someplace like this, there's still some words around it. So what I want to do is I want to make this stand out a little bit. I am going to create a shape. I'm going to put in a rectangle, and I'm going to put this over here. Yeah, I'm going to put it down at the bottom there. Now, if I move that text on there, it's white on white. It's not going to work very well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click back on that shape so that I can do this. I want to change the fill color to, if not black, then at least a dark gray. And then I want to drag this over here. Oh no, it disappeared. Let me let go, and you're going to have to trust me that this is going to work. I can still see that the text box is highlighted there. What I want to do is I want to have the text box above that box, the rectangle that I just drew. So I'm going to go to Layout. No, I'm going to go to Style. No, where am I going to go? It's down here somewhere. Well, I'll tell you what I am going to do is I'm just going to right-click on that. Oh, I selected the box instead. Well, that's not a problem. I'm just going to say Send Item Backward. Oh, there we go. So what happened is that the rectangle was on the top of everything else, and what I've done is I've sent it back down once, so I can see the text box is on top and the rectangle is underneath that, and that picture that we have is at the bottom. This could be a little bit bigger, although it's not too bad. I'm going to move that until it looks kind of centered-ish, and then I'm going to change the font up a little bit. Again. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so this is just me playing around with it to make it look nice. To make it fit right into the center, I can expand this text box so it snaps in over to the corners of the page. And I know it'll be centered there because I've told it to center itself within the text box. So I know that's going to be exactly centered. Now, I've also covered up part of this really nice graphic that I have underneath here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, after I've selected the shape, I'm going to go to the Shape tab, and I'm going to change the opacity and drag that down somewhat and see how it looks. Now you can see if I drag down the opacity a little bit, that rectangle is a little bit transparent, but still dark enough that I can see the title right there. Maybe I'll make that a little darker. Okay, so that is my first page. Bring an image in, put the text box with the text in there, and then put in a shape in the background to make it look nice when I see the whole thing. And if I go to the preview button right here, I'm going to go check in preview mode and see how that's going to look when it's on an actual device. And that's going to look pretty cool when it's up on a screen. So let's keep going and add to this. So what I want to do now is I want to add another page, and I'm going to click on this little bar over on the top left here. It says Toggle Page Thumbnails, and now I can see thumbnails of the pages that I'm working on. So I'm going to add a page, and let's just make it a blank page, and this is going to be my page about, let's check my document here. Oh, the solar system. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'm going to look for an image of the solar system. I had one there that I've already used. I want another one. So I'm going to go down here over to the left-hand toolbar, and there's one here that says image when I put the mouse over it. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go down here to where it says Google search. These are all the ones that I've uploaded already, and I want to find one through Google search. I'll click on that. These are all the ones I've found through Google search already, so I'm going to go into the little search box, and I'm going to look for the solar system. And they all look pretty good. But I think maybe I'll go with that one. That looks pretty cool. So I find it, I click on it. It goes into my library first of all. It doesn't go into the document right away. It goes into my library first, and then it's there again when I go to look for it later on if I want to reuse it. And I'm going to click on that, and then it inserts into there. And might not be the greatest one, but I'm going to work with it anyway. Now I want to shrink that down a little bit by adjusting the zoom. So I'll go down maybe even a little bit more, and that'll give me some room to resize that photo so I can drag the handles out a little bit. Make it bigger and drop that right there. Yeah, that's going to be cool looking, isn't it? Okay, great. Let's zoom back in again. And the default is 125%, which seems to be pretty good for doing most of the stuff. Okay, great. I've got some text in my document here about the solar system, so I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go back here. If I want to put text in, I need to have some kind of container to put text in, and that would be a text box. And by default, it comes up with the lorem ipsum Latin stuff. Double click on that to get rid of it, and I'm just going to paste in the stuff that I have there. And I'm going to change that to white text. I think it'll actually fit on the page pretty nicely. Maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah, if you imagine this tablet size, it's going to be tough to read. Oh, I didn't get all of it there, so and I missed the color. Let's change the font size here. Yeah, sounds good. And the color right there. There we go. It all fits now. That's kind of a neat looking font. I'm going to stick with that. And maybe bring that down over here. Yeah, that looks pretty legible. I'm going to do the same thing about alignment. I'm going to put it in, oh, maybe not in the center that way, but I'm certainly going to put it in the center top to bottom so we can see the whole thing. Yeah, okay, great. And again, I can go to preview, see how that looks, and it's updating. Oh, it's looking pretty good. And I can go and see the other one by clicking on that. Yeah, so far so good. So that's the basic process. Is you after you've got the pages set up or the booklet set up to start with, you add a new page, you put on the image, you put on the text. If you want to have a title, you can do that too. And if you need to, you put in a box or a rectangle to give you a little bit of background so that your text will stand out. And let's do one more. And I'm going to go back to my document here. This one is about planets. Okay, well, let's do this here. I happen to have a picture of the Earth that I'll use for my planet picture. So I'm dragging a picture in. I was going to say I'm dragging a planet in. That would be pretty impressive to drag an entire planet in there. Let's stretch this out. There we go. Looking pretty good. And I'm going to copy my text from my document. This is why it's good to have it in the document, is that Lucidpress is really nice for doing page layout, not so nice for doing actual typing in. So I recommend having it typed into a document somewhere first. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to have a rectangle in the background for this one, so I'm just going to do that now. Rectangle. Where's my rectangle? There it is. And I'll put that over here on the dark side of the earth. Let's change that to black. Adjust the opacity down. Oh, there we go. We're going to have a little bit of the image showing through. And let's grab a text box. Double click that to select everything. First of all, change the color to white so I can see it. And adjust all of my text stuff. Adjust the alignment. And double click on it to select all that, and then paste in my text that I actually want there. That's not that much. I'm going to make the text a little bit bigger since there's not too much of it. And adjust that. Move it over onto there, and I'm going to click off that to see what it's going to look like. And yeah, looking pretty nice. So again, let's do a preview of it. And that is another nice looking page. Very little time that it takes to put together something really cool looking in Lucidpress. And the general workflow that I'm following is on each page to, well, first of all, take a look and see what the page is going to be about. Grab a picture or a graphic of some sort to put in as the background. Copy the text. Put it into a text box, or if I think I'm going to need a semi-transparent rectangle in the back in order to make the text a little more legible, then I'll do that first and then put the text box in and paste the text into it and adjust the color and the font and the size and all that as I see fit. And as I said, very quickly you have a very nice looking document that you can then share with the world, because there's this button over here that says share. I'm going to get rid of this. This is my trial. So it wants me to try all the pro features. So right here is the share button, and I click on that. And I can email the page. I can generate a link. What I want to do here is actually go publish, and once I click this big button, they're making sure you can't miss this. Once you press that big button, it will be published online as a web page, and it does a little bit of previewing of that, or a little bit of rendering of that, and very soon we will have that. And here's the link that it gives me, pub.lucidpress.com/blah blah blah, all sorts of jibber jabber there. So what I can do is I can just click and select all of this, and I can change that. I think I can change it. Used to be able to change it. Oh, use custom link, that's why. Okay, make sure you do that. So I can change this to pub.lucidpress.com/planetary bodies, and I'm going to save that, and I'm going to update that, and I'm going to press OK. And now, if you want to go check this out for yourself, it will be there, pub.lucidpress.com/planetary bodies. Pretty cool. So you get to do this fairly easily, and then even publish it on the web, all for free. Lucidpress is a pretty cool app that is available for free with some limited functionality, of course. And it can do a lot of interesting stuff. So get in there and play around with it and see what you can do for making cool web pages viewable on your tablet device, all for my favorite price, which is, of course, free. Have fun with it.